Oh my goodness. We started this show on the launch, well, not at the launch, about 3 months into the Xbox One, and 337 episodes later.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about we started the show.
The start of
This
the
show
X1
you're
Bros.
listening to, the XoneBros.
Yes, started with the beginning of the Xbox One. 337 episodes later, we have the Series X.
Oh, baby.
It is here. The next generation of consoles are here. Welcome, everybody. We're the X1Bros. This is your positive gaming and Xbox community. As always, I am joined by the bros, the X1Bros. First and foremost, it's Mr. McSpicy. Next is Jordan the Man.
Hello.
And last but not least, I am X1. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. Let's just jump into it. There's some big news this week. Some giant news in the Xbox world, and that is the new Xbox. The new Xbox Series X, the new
here.
Xbox Series S. They are both here. They have dropped. Let's just go through. We've got some questions about it. I thought we'd go through these questions. I thought we'd talk about it. I thought we'd give our reviews and stuff like that. But so far, overall, Mr. McSpicy,
Yeah.
how is the Series X treating you? Let's talk. You're a design guy. Let's talk hardware design,
Like
looks,
aesthetics of the box
aesthetics,
itself?
yes. What do you think as you opened up the box, the packaging, the
Yeah,
entire,
okay.
the entire put together presentation there?
You know what's interesting is I didn't know where my controller was for a while.
Because it's in that tab that lifts up. Yeah.
I'm like,
This doesn't come with a controller?
wait a minute. Did I buy the one? Did I in cameras how you can buy the body only and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't get a lens,
Yeah,
right?
you got the body only
I was like,
box.
checking the box like,
Where
what
is
the?
it?
And I feel like I'm not stupid, but maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe that's been my problem all this time. No, it's a very streamlined box.
Yeah.
And when I opened it up, I found the box, the Xbox. When I say box, I'm talking about the Xbox now,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
the box it came from.
sure.
Good old Microsoft and their confusing language stuff. But open it up. The box is right there. It had a little, little whatever that electronic foam paper that's on it, right? Pulled it out, and I really was like, I thought
Where
this
in
came.
the
And then I
hell?
was thinking, then I put the box down. I'm like, doesn't it come with a plug? But the reason is because there's like an angled portion of the box on the lid that you open, and that's why it was confusing. I found it eventually, but they did a really good job on the box. I mean, I like a good box, but I like a good Xbox better, right?
Yeah,
And
what do you think of the Xbox? Let's start style for you. Xbox
It looks
Series
good.
X.
It looks very, very good. As far as height, I put it up next to my PlayStation 4 up in my loft, and it's actually the same height.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's wider, but it's not as deep. It's like
It's got more girth.
Yeah, it's definitely more girthy. I really thought, speaking of just like the little things, I really thought it was interesting how the green is when you're looking at like the fan, how you can't see it if you're looking straight on, but
when
if you
you're up-
angle it, then you start to see like the green stuff. Green on black. It's really, I mean, I like those little things, right? It's sexy. I feel it's very sexy. Plugging it in for the first time, had to run an update, which was very quick. And then I started downloading games. And can I get into this real
Go
quick?
ahead, yes.
The games download a lot faster. And when I mean a lot faster, if your bandwidth can handle it, I took a picture where I was... Did you see the picture I
saw,
took?
yes.
There was a G on the download
Yeah.
speed, which blows my mind, right?
Untethered access.
Granted, that's, it spikes up and goes down and spikes up and goes down. It was hovering around 500 megs per second, up to 700, 500, and then occasionally would go up to like the 1.01 gigs per second. Oh my gosh, that's dirty.
That is nice.
That is so awesome. So I started downloading the games. It's interesting that the hardware allows for faster download speed like that. Well, it's not necessarily the hardware. It's obviously the hard drive can handle the writing
Speed, yeah.
faster, right? So that's how it's allowing more bandwidth.
Interesting.
kind of thing, right? So, anyways, to answer your question, it's a gorgeous piece of hardware. I love it. It looks really good on my shelf. So.
Jordan, let's go to you. Just on the aesthetic part, do you like the design? I know at first when it dropped, it was pretty controversial. Like people said it looked plain. What do you think of the design? As you opened it up, what was your thoughts there with the Series X?
No, I think the design is fine. I do want them to make a fridge out of it though.
They have.
Yeah, did you see that?
Oh, yeah, they
After
have.
I saw that, that's awesome.
Oh, it's legit. Yeah.
Yeah, the real fridge. I want it. The real
We should get
Xbox
it. We should
the
get it for
Xbox
the,
Series X mini fridge.
For the studio
Yeah.
here.
Can we? Is it a mini fridge or
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it a big fridge?
No, it's a mini fridge.
Yeah, I want it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. No, I will say this. They're definitely getting their money's worth from their cardboard box department.
Yeah, whoever's in charge of the presentation.
Because
It's like a
felt
presentation when you get it.
It felt like we got a special edition of something. You know what I mean? You know how like usually like I know Intel does this with their processors. When you get the special edition, you got it in like an engram. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
a Destiny
yeah, yeah.
engram. They always present it really intense, and that's how this was. You open up the box, it's super nice. Oh, and thank goodness, this is why you should keep those guys on. Is they put the freaking correct sealing tape on it.
Yes.
Not that crap that you pull off and takes half the box
Yes.
with you. I hate that stuff.
It even had the tab. Tear this
GameStop,
way.
I'm looking at you. They always
Tear
put
this
that
way.
stupid price sticker on there and you rip it off and it leaves half the thing. I hate
Yep.
those stickers.
Yep.
Anyway, that's what I noticed about the box, the stickers. You open it up and it just says power your dreams.
Oh, yeah, that's right, it does.
I opened it up with my family, actually.
Oh, yeah, it was like a family moment.
Oh, wow.
You grab
Pull
your
it up.
boy. Now, if you work hard in life,
You can have one
you
of
can
these.
have stuff like this.
Yeah. So no, it's presented really well. Like it does feel like you're getting a premium, like a like a special edition product, like a premium product, right? My only complaint, and I have this complaint basically every generation, the thing is a freaking fingerprint magnet, and I hate fingerprints on my electronics.
Yeah, I was touching it.
David actually really upset me. He licked my box.
I licked his box. He was complaining about it.
You're like the
Because he
new
kept
Jessica
touching it.
He was like,
Chobot.
he kept saying like, "Hey, stop touching it! It's a fingerprint thing." I was like, "Oh yeah," and I
You
licked
should
it.
have
You licked it up.
Instagrammed that.
I
You would have been the next spokesman
Next
for
thing
like
I know,
IGN.
and I'm like standing there laughing. Next thing I know, like Jordan goes to the corner and comes back with like a legit hand towel and like wipes it down like a
I don't blame him. Yeah.
like a cloth you use to wax a car.
Especially in this day and age, you're licking his electronics, David.
No, it's one thing I actually I like about the Series S because it's white, so you're probably getting because it's probably the same material, plastic, right?
Yeah.
You're probably getting those fingerprints on it, but you don't see it. You know what I mean? I think a reason why the PlayStation I like it that it has the white, right? You're not seeing. Whereas my only complaint so far, like visually about it, is fingerprints, man.
But
I just those fingerprints.
How often do you touch it?
I don't.
because-
David comes over and he
No,
freaking
because
moves it around all the time.
mine's spot clean because I'm not sitting there going, you know.
Yeah.
But
The dust too, like if you can see fingerprints on it, you're gonna see the dust on it. And when you do have to move it from like, hey, I want to play a family game tonight, you gotta touch it. You know what I mean?
a family game? Like, what do you mean? Or
I don't know,
is this
like-
like in this? Are you putting it on like a coffee table in the middle of the room?
Well, no, if you have to, like when people come over and you play like a party game, you know,
You would put your Xbox on the coffee table?
if it hooked up to the TV, yeah, it's a talking point.
It is. It's like the center point of his living room.
Hey, dear, get the dinner ready. We got guests coming over. I'll set up the Xbox so we can talk about it in the middle of the room.
No, because I like to, I just don't like fingerprints on mine.
And did you stand yours up? Did anybody try laying it down?
I will be honest. I think it looks odd when it's laying on its side.
Yeah, it's not as cool.
And I think it's because of where the disk drive is. It's like almost uneven. You know what I mean?
Try, yeah.
Yeah. Also, if you notice, the X is up, so it turns sideways when
Oh,
you
yeah,
put it.
yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's one of those things where they're like, hey, we have to design it to put it on its side.
We've got to give people the option.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I think it's meant to be standing up, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think I actually like its simplification. In fact, I showed it to my wife and she was like, "Oh, that's nice. That would look nice in our living room, right?"
Yeah.
Like, boom, that's their intention. Mission accomplished.
One thing I did
Put it
notice,
on the coffee table
Yeah,
like Jordan does.
Yeah,
One thing I did notice when I picked it up, that thing does feel solid.
yeah, it's a solid piece.
Yeah,
of
no,
hardware.
it really can. Like if someone were to be murdered in your house, that would be a weapon they look at. That is it's a solid.
It's gonna be
piece
in
of
the new Clue games.
Yeah.
There'll be a candle, a gun,
wrench.
and a big Xbox
Yeah.
Series
No,
X.
but I
Professor
say
Plum.
that I say that as a compliment. Like, when you unpackage some things and you kind of move them around, you can kind of hear stuff moving. It's like that is a solid piece of hardware.
Give me your favorite feature, Jordan, so far on the Series X, performance-wise.
It's loading.
Loading times.
it's gotta be loading
That is
times, yeah.
amazing.
Loading time.
That alone.
And that was common in the previews coming up to the release here. The loading times is what everybody raved about. Literally, after experiencing it for 10 minutes, you can't go back to the old loading screens and loading times. It's that much of a difference.
I find myself in Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, abusing the fast travel system now.
Yeah.
Because I can't even read when on the loading screens they have those like snippets that are like, if you press A, you'll jump, kind of thing. There's not even time to read that anymore.
Sure. I actually don't think. I think that's just there to stick with the Assassin's Creed tradition. I think it's fake.
You think they don't even?
I don't even think they need the loading screen.
They purposely, make it long.
You go into the little puddle room.
Well, I mean, because this game's
That
still
is a puddle room.
This game's still available on the old box, so it would be in the programming to have it there, right? So.
Yeah. I think it's just.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, it's like we
a
gotta give
conspiracy.
people aren't ready for no loading screens.
Yeah.
That's their thought. That's
It's a
Ubisoft's
conspiracy
thought.
theory.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have Destiny say we have no loading screens,
Yeah.
and now what, right?
Yeah.
the ship in the
literally
sky.
will be no. Oh yeah, why get a ship?
Why get a ship now?
No one will care. You won't even need it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
jump right in.
But by far, I mean, I even answered some questions from friends and family that were asking about the box. Why should I get this over the other one? If you don't, 4K is awesome. The frame rate's awesome. But what's going to affect you day to day, everybody, is those loading screens, and it is ridiculously faster.
It is super fast. Now, what games have you guys had a chance to play so far on the Series X? Jordan, let's start with you.
I have played pretty much just 2 games. And that would be Assassin's Creed and Planet Coaster.
Oh, how is Planet Coaster?
yeah.
It's very relaxing.
Yeah, it was cool. It looks cool. I like some of the guys when you zoom in look so hilarious. Like
Yeah,
their
they're funny.
their
They're like
facial
it's like The
expressions.
Sims.
Yeah,
They talk
it's-
like that too.
It's
Blah, blah, blah,
hilarious.
blah.
Yeah. So,
So-
how is your experience? Do you feel like you're getting a next
Oh,
generation
I did
experience
play.
with these
I did
games?
play a little bit of The Witcher because literally is no loading screens in The
Yeah,
Witcher
that's cool.
now.
And those
yeah.
were super long.
Yeah, those were like you're going from like minutes to now, not even seconds.
That's cool.
So
That's really cool. So,
very
are you
exciting.
feel like an Assassin's Creed? Let's take Assassin's Creed. You feel like you're getting a next generation experience playing on the Series X?
Yeah, I feel like it's because I actually played Assassin's Creed the night before on my One X.
Yeah.
And if you guys remember, Assassin's Creed Black Flag also launched between consoles, between the 360 and
That's
the
right.
Xbox One. I actually feel like this is more of a next generation experience than that was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it still feels different.
Yeah.
And that's probably because of the 4K and the 60 frames, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when you take Black Flag from the 360 to the Xbox One, the Xbox One did look a little bit better. Like it was, a little bit higher. I think it was higher resolution,
Yeah.
a little bit more fidel, right? But it's still, I think the frame rate is what does it, honestly.
That makes
Yeah.
it feel, and you're
Oh,
at
yeah.
that 4K HDR the whole shot.
Yeah.
Very cool. Spicy, how about you? Do you feel like the games that you've been playing, what games have you played, and do you feel like you've been getting a true next generation experience here?
Yes. I've only played Valhalla.
Okay.
I've installed some other games. We were talking about it before the show. But I've only played Valhalla, and I gotta agree, having that high frame rate takes some getting used to in an Assassin's Creed game, because it feels different. It
Yeah.
feels real different. It almost feels janky in a way. Although some things influence that as well. Like I think his climbing abilities in the game, Ivor's climbing abilities, like
He's like,
I go around the window 5 times before I can get to the right spot to get into
Yeah.
the window, right? So I think there's some issues with that as far as the gameplay itself, but it definitely feels different. What was the question?
are you getting a next generation experience here?
Yes, I am. I think the game is gorgeous. I think the loading times make me enjoy this game far better. Even turning the box on, I had my game crash.
Yeah.
My Xbox actually turned off for some reason. I think it's because I have my box in the closet, and I think I needed to ventilate it a little bit more,
Oh,
right? So
yeah.
as a safety precaution, it'll shut off because hot things get hot.
Yeah.
You know. So and then I opened the door and I was fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even after like a hard turn on, I'm back in the game in 20 seconds.
Dude, that's so
You know
cool.
what I mean?
It's so
Yeah.
cool.
And if the game itself would let me skip those loading logos, I'd be in 8 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? So I definitely feel that. I feel as though the TV I have is not very good on HDR, so I turned off the HDR and it looks a lot better because I have a TCL and I think they aren't very good. You get what you
Yeah.
pay for with the HDR, right?
They're at the bottom of that range.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
barely met that qualification.
But yes, I'm enjoying it thoroughly. I've been actually playing with the new controller because I wanted to.
I think that is a next gen upgrade as well. The new controller, speaking of it, not to steal your thunder.
No,
there,
yeah, no, go
but
for it.
that really stood out to me. If the elite controller is the standard version 2, and I think it still is,
Sure.
there's an overlap. It's right on. It's barely underneath it. Right. It is a substantial jump. This new controller on the Xbox to the last generation controller. The bumpers feel
clickety-click.
phenomenal.
Yeah, they feel clickety-click.
Phenomenal.
Snappy snaps.
The controller itself feels much more solid, like less plasticky than the previous controller. It's still not the same feel as the Elite, but it's just under it. The joysticks feel snappy, but the D-pad, I think the D-pad is superior to the Elite controller D-pad.
To the Elite controller D-pad?
Because it's a combination.
It
on
is
the,
really good.
on the
yeah.
Elite controller, you have to decide between the 8 and the 4, right? Like the hexagon and the 4. This is a combination of the both built in.
The
Elite
has-
controller, you can still do
You can
that,
pull
yeah.
that off. It's in the case that it came in. Open it up, unzip it, and see it's in there.
Yeah, but it's still a 4, right? It's not the combo one.
No, it is. It is.
Oh, well, like I get what you're saying. Like it's a disc, whereas the new controller has the cross and the disc.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a combo of both of them.
I think I have to look and.
Yeah.
Want me to go get it? I can go get it and look at it. It's upstairs.
Oh, is that your Elite controller? That's your Elite controller.
That's my Elite. Yeah.
See the 4. So on the new controller,
It has the 4.
It has the 4 just like that, but then it's a disc as well.
It has
Yeah,
a
but
disc side of
that
it.
comes with that. You can pull that off.
Yeah, and
But when you pull
what
it
he's
off,
saying,
you go
it's just
disc
the
only.
disc.
You go hexagon.
Like it doesn't have the
this
4
is a
arrows.
combo. of
Oh,
both.
Yeah.
it pop. Oh, you're saying it pops out a little bit, and there's.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
okay.
This one is a combo where it has the 4, like the cross, your traditional D-pad, and then underneath it is a disc
for
right?
the corners.
And I think the Elite controller needs to have that option because I think it's superior.
It probably can easily be made.
All
With
it
a
is an
3D printer?
attachment. Yeah, all it is an attachment that you would have to do. But it's amazing. The controller is amazing. I really, really like the controller. Share button takes some getting used to. Not going to lie. I was like, okay, how do I record? You got to hold it down to record.
And then
If you
hit
just
it for a
tap it, I'm
screenshot.
used to just tapping it. I wonder if you could switch that. I just tap it and it's like, oh, screenshot. I'm like, I don't care about screenshots. I want recorded.
You'll get used to it. I'm already used to it. And I wanted to add that's one of my favorite features of the new controller.
Yeah.
Just having that instantaneous,
Share button.
awesome share button. I've used it. I think I've used it probably 50 times already playing Valhalla because there's so many pretty scenes that you're just like, oh, that's pretty. Boom. I got the screenshot, because I keep going, that's what I'm going to put on my desktop now. That's the next one I'm going to put on my desktop background, right?
Yeah.
So,
Now, that's the Series X. First impressions, we all love it. It's fantastic. We're all glad that we upgraded. We also have the Series S that is an upgrade. Now, I do have the Series S at my house right now in my living room, and I have to say, aesthetic-wise,
yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is a nice
I think
little-
it's the best looking box. The best looking console on the market today is the Series S. It is insanely small. Insanely small. I meant to bring it so that you guys could see it. Jordan was over at my house.
Yeah,
He
I picked it
actually
up.
took the liberty of just unplugging it and like walking around.
You licked his box. He'll
ran
pull it off
away
the
with
shelf.
It looks so good that my wife, again, she said with the Series X, she was like, oh yeah, because we have like a console where you can hide the stuff in the drawers. She was like, no, let's put that on top. That's nice.
Wow.
It's that nice.
No, it really is
looks,
nice, and it's light.
It looks good. As far as performance-wise, I will say this. I was planning on keeping my Project Scorpio. I'm selling my Project Scorpio. Everyone needs to have. There's no point loading screen wise, quick resume wise, to be able to go from my desktop Series X Ultimate experience to my couch and just be able to pick up with the same speed and everything is beautiful. Not to mention the hard and also the controller. It's a white controller too. Ooh.
It's
beautiful.
I love that stuff.
But the Series S, super recommend it. There are differences in games. So on some games, like it's 4K 60 frames. It does a lot of games in 4K 60. Can we confirm?
What do you want? Yeah.
Can we confirm? Jordan, will you look it up? Actually, can we confirm what it is for Assassin's Creed?
I'm pretty sure it's 1080 60.
Because
And I'm pretty sure most games are 1080 60 on the Series X.
Because it pops up in the corner on my TCL, and it was 4K on most of the games that I was playing.
I don't think you're telling the truth.
The S?
On the Xbox One Series S, yes.
I'll look it up while you guys discuss.
Anyways.
We're going to have an awkward silence for a good 3 minutes.
Anyways,
So you
it's
find
beautiful. If you're worried about the Series S, it's totally worth it. Like, in my opinion, don't even keep your old Xbox. The Series, and before I did not say this, I said, yeah, keep your old Xbox. No, Series S, it's an upgrade in its own right. It's beautiful. I really, really enjoy it. Let's get to some questions while Jordan's looking that up about the boxes. Before we get into some additional talk here, Junior Winking writes in, and he says, with your recent experience with the new console, have you noticed any cons or things you were expecting to work a little better? I, for one, was a little upset to find that Rocket League did not have quick resume turned on at the start, and also, I've been having trouble when quick resuming back into AC Valhalla. The game will allow me to run around, but missions disappear, and then eventually the game will crash after a minute. Interesting. It's annoying because I have to save the game before running off to play another. Knowing that this cool feature isn't working the way I was expecting, is there anything like that? So I've not had that experience, for the record, with AC Valhalla. Quick resume has worked every single time for me.
Yeah,
without issue.
Me too, but I mean, I'm not double launching games, right? So I'm just going from the Xbox being off from the Xbox being on.
So I've double launched into Tetris Effect and also Vigor.
Yeah.
And then back into. So I've used Quick Resume on the 3 of them. On Vigor, Quick Resume works kind of, but since it's an online game, that's the issue. So with online games, Quick Resume, it quick resumes into the menu before you connect to the internet, right? Is the issue there. Whereas a single-player game, you're going to just quick resume right into the storyline. But with AC, I've not yet had that experience. It sounds like a bug, Junior Wing King. But it is up to developers on whether or not to have quick resume in the game. Spicy, any cons, things that you were expecting to work a little bit better with the Series X that have come up for you so far?
Well, the problems I've been having are the bugs in Valhalla, and there's some funny ones. And I like myself a good, lot of funny bugs. Like I was telling Jordan before the show, I tried to climb a ladder in the game, and my guy, instead of climbing it straight on, he swung and grabbed it from the side, and he got like locked into
It's almost like it's too sticky sometimes, right?
And so I got locked into the side of the ladder, and some dude with a spear came up and was like, and then I died because I couldn't get off the ladder. So, but that's not the Xbox. That's the game. I don't know. I'm really enjoying my box. I don't know of anything that I haven't liked. Oh, I guess I could say the dynamic background is awesome. I know that those that are in the preview, whatever, like people that
preview program,
right? I know that they have access to like 10 other dynamic background screens. Yeah. I would like to have my own looping video because I can make those, right? I make those a lot in my line of work, and I love making stuff like that.
Or even if, because all that it is like lines moving a direction, right? Even if they just let you have some sort of like, I want to add this to this side of the screen, this to this side, you know what I mean? And make your own kind of, even if they pre-rendered them for you, but you could design it yourself.
If you just made an MP4 file and then you could share it on the internet and just allow me, just like you would, in the other ones, you would have a thumb drive, you'd plug it in with a picture of you and your family or whatever you wanted. You could use that as your desktop background. Just allow me to use video files that are, if you needed to worry about, processing availability, which I don't think they need to for this hardware, but if that was the concern, then just limit by video size. Limit it to 50 megs or something. Have it be like a 10-second looping video or something, which I'm sure the dynamic backgrounds are doing anyways. It's some sort of video file that they're using. I would love to have that feature. Yep. That would be awesome to have like Optimus Prime just looping in the background, or just like cool shiz like we do on the show before and after the show for our viewers, right? So I would love to put that stuff.
Yeah,
on
that would be cool. That was. I agree with you. That was something that's like, oh, dynamic backgrounds, and it's one right now at launch, anyways, right?
And it is launch. So I know that the desktop background on the original Xbox One wasn't available until like a year later. So I know that they add these features later. I just want them to allow me to put a video file in the background of the desktop.
Yeah.
Of the OS. That would be awesome. Please, Microsoft, do that for me.
Jordan, how about you? Any cons that maybe something that you were expecting to work better on the Series X that you haven't yet, that has been a little bit of disappointment or anything that you've noticed?
It's probably the same as Mark. I'd like more options with the dynamic background. You know what I mean? So even if you look over on PlayStation, which again, I mean, they've had the dynamic backgrounds for a while, and this is something that would come, but they have dynamic backgrounds per like games and stuff. I actually put a Witcher dynamic background on Mark's PlayStation.
Oh, that's not a dynamic background. That's just a screenshot of. That's like, yeah, I know what one you're talking about. So Jordan,
I thought the top they were moving in the water, weren't they? When you looked at them, I thought they were moving.
Was it? It might
I thought they were, but
yeah.
Anyway.
Let me tell that story.
Yeah.
So Jordan, thinking he's awesome, grabbed a thumbnail background of The Witcher 3 of like a hag. And the hag is disgusting, and she's shirtless. So she's got these sagging boobsticles that are down to her knees.
She's kind of hot when she decides to be.
Well, if she
on the top screen,
if she form changes, but I'm sitting there. I had my whole family over, my nieces, nephews, my whole family, and I pull up my PlayStation in front of all the kids, and there's this old, gross,
hag,
disgusting hag with, boobsticles hanging down past her knees, and I'm like, Jordan, you bastard.
That was funny. No, I would like to see.
That was funny for you.
I would like to see like game dynamic backgrounds. Don't you think that'd be cool? I know.
That's
the same thing
awesome.
with you, though. I'd like to see more of the dynamic background. As for like other features and stuff, I haven't, other than playing the games and the loading screens, I haven't really deep dived into the settings menu.
Yeah,
but
other than that, I don't think there's. I mean, I think they nailed everything they promised.
To be honest with you, the UI is essentially the same as it was before.
Well, it's all the same because they upgraded it.
Right?
Since you're unified across systems now, that's not going to change. It's just going to be.
I really think dynamic backgrounds are new to the Series X, and I think there might be a few other things here and there, but like I said, the UI is essentially the same.
One thing, except it's much faster.
Oh yeah, the speed of it is quicker.
David was like, "Have you played Tetris yet?" While I was playing Assassin's Creed, he was in party chat. I was like, "Nope." I just press the jewel, store Tetris, download back into the game under 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It is amazing how
snappy,
fast and snappy that UI is.
No, agreed. Great question, Junior Wing King. Thank you very much for writing in. Teeth Sweat writes in and says, "Hey bros, I'll echo Junior Wing King's frustration with quick resume being turned off for many of the Series X optimized titles. This is supposed to be one of the cool new features on the console, and it doesn't work for Horizon 4 or Gears 5. Again, that's up to the developers, right? I'm sure that. Well, and those are first party titles, so
those should. Yeah.
I have mixed feelings. He says, on the one hand, I'm stoked about my new box and what the future holds. On the other hand, I don't have the same enthusiasm for the games that I've had during previous generation console releases. Unless you have AC Valhalla or Watch Dogs, I guess you're probably playing the same games as you were playing before launch. Is it blasphemous for me to be disappointed? Should I shut up and enjoy switching cars incredibly fast in Horizon 4? Should I just be thankful that I got a Series X? Cyberpunk 2077 can't release soon enough. Teeth Sweat, I don't think that is blasphemous. I think that that's a legitimate criticism of the this console launch, and that there's really, even on the PlayStation 5, there's really no big, you can only get this here type of game that has launching at console. Everything is an upgrade. Having said that, what I've been enjoying, while I understand that I've been like Vigor's not a game that's like a graphical powerhouse by any means, right? But it is substantially better to play on the Series X, and you notice it immediately. I've gotten like 3 threats in a row since switching to the Series X because the resolution is consistent, the frame rates don't drop, I don't get any chug, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. One game that I would highly recommend experiencing on this is Tetris. it will blow your mind.
Mm-hmm.
It will blow your mind. But yeah, I think that's a valid concern. Teeth Sweat. I think just the overall experience for me is improved, even though there's not a true built for the next gen game yet. There.
Yeah.
Agree, Jordan? Disagree?
No, I think he's right. It's not bad to be disappointed. I mean, we were gonna get Halo as a launch title, right? Although even Halo, I don't know if it would have been fully next gen because it's still being developed for the lower consoles, right?
Yep.
But that's just the transit. Anyway, this is where I do think PlayStation does a little bit better than Microsoft. Is I know they don't have a ton of launch games, but they at least have two that catch my eye, right?
Sure.
They have Spider-Man Miles Morales, and then they have Demon Souls. You know what I mean? Which are I think big heavy hitters, at least in my book, right?
Sure.
I do agree that it is disappointing that there's no full-on launch game like designed to show off the new stuff. That being said, we still do get to benefit from the new stuff being faster loading screens. I do still think Assassin's Creed looks really good on the Series X, and I think Assassin's Creed is just like to whet your palate, right? If this is what they can do with a game that was probably primarily developed for the older generation and then just upgraded to the Series X.
Yeah.
Imagine what they can do a year from now when Halo comes out or when the next Gears come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So things are only going to get better. But I get what he's saying, and I do feel that disappointment. But at least we get to experience the other features. Like I said, changing cars really fast in Forza, getting a little bit of the fidelity upgrades that we're getting in some of these games. The most exciting one, I think, is actually Gears multiplayer at 120 frames.
Ooh, dirty.
Then Destiny also just announced their upgrade of 120 frames in the Crucible.
Yeah.
Which is where it matters, right? So I do think that's exciting that we get to do that stuff, but it would have been nice to have kind of just that Series X exclusive,
like a
Microsoft
Microsoft Flight Simulator.
I mean, Flight Simulator I think would have done a good job, or just something really to show it off, like I said, like PlayStation does really well with games like Miles Morales and Demon Souls. You know what I mean?
Spicy. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm gonna kind of give you guys an alternative way of thinking about this. Sure. I think PlayStation has to do that a little bit more by necessity, because Microsoft's plan here is to have availability for game titles going back clear to the original Xbox. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think their game plan is just a little shifted, even though I'm sure they would like to have exclusives on launch day. They have access to... And you have access by, Game Pass, all that stuff, to games that have originally... I mean, when was the last time... Think about other consoles where you had an instant library, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often.
Well, that being said, in all fairness, PlayStation 5 does have that now. With their back compat stuff, right?
Sure. But it's not nearly as big, is it? Or
No. I don't. I don't know 100% exactly how it works, but I do know they have some backward compatibility features on their platform now.
Sure. Yeah, that being true. But I mean, like, Sony's mindset is new console, new games, right?
Yeah.
Microsoft's mindset is all consoles, all games.
Yeah, I would agree
right?
with that.
Like, that's where they're going. So I think by necessity, Sony, by their game plan, they lean more towards that launch title style,
Traditional.
the traditional style. And I think Microsoft doesn't need that necessarily.
Yeah.
Right? Even though, it would be nice to have I want to play games too instantly. I want to play Halo right away. Also, I feel like I want to play games that are ready, but I think Microsoft has
They're
a
in a different
library
position, yeah.
because of their game plan going forward of
Yeah. I think that's a good point. Beast in chat says, just the speed alone is worth it, but agreed, besides Halo and Cyberpunk, there's nothing I'm super excited about like I've been in the past, but the speed makes all the difference in my desire to game. And I think that's exactly it. For me, it's an improved overall gaming experience now on the Series X. And that's not just hype. That's real. Like, those are real, tangible improvements.
Well, you know what's really exciting? To my knowledge right now, I don't know for sure. I could be wrong. Someone can correct me. But I don't think any of the games right now are actually taking advantage of that velocity architecture, right? Which they're saying when you do take advantage of that, you're going to get even faster speeds and loading time. So that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, no,
You know what
absolutely.
I mean? To actually fully, like I said, like a year from now, or even when games like the Medium and stuff come out, which I think are going to take advantage of that type
I got fooled by the Medium because I saw that in Game Pass last night, and it's one of those
that's how they
preload
get you, man.
situations, and I was like, yes!
Yeah, that's how they get you. Yeah. The medium, to be honest with you, I wouldn't normally buy the medium because I don't like scary games. But this one I'm going to buy just to see how it works. You know what I mean? Just for the feature set.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited to see once games start using
the full
full
handle of the console.
power.
Yeah. Great question, Teeth Sweat. Thank you for writing in. We got 3 more questions regarding the Series X that we'll go through here. Hermit the Frog writes in and says, "What's up, Brosivs? I hope you are all able to land a new console on launch date. Wanted to thank you for talking me off the ledge of canceling my Series S pre-order because it is awesome. Load times just blow me away coming from a 1S. Wondering, since I have seen a lot of smack talk online about the Series S and when true next-gen games come out, that it will start to stutter with lack of RAM and graphics power. Do you feel there's any truth to that? How do you like your Series S if you've gotten to test it yet?" I absolutely love it, Hermit the Frog, and I don't think that there's any truth to that it'll start to stutter. You're running on literally the exact same architecture minus, is it the GPU that's the difference there?
Definitely the GPU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a resolution thing. That's the difference.
They manage that by resolution, right? So I did look. It's 18. It's 14. What is it? 1480 is it the monitor?
1440p.
1440p on Assassin's Creed at 6.
Oh, it is
60
at
frames per second. It is at
1440p? You looked it up?
1440.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, oh, it's 4K because it shows it's not 1080. All I see is, it's not 1080.
Okay. Gotcha.
But it is. I mean, it's a fabulous, amazing experience, and for the price point that it's an upgrade. Perhaps when games start to fully utilize things, you'll maybe start to see a difference. But again, I think they're handling that with the resolution. I think this was a smart move by Microsoft, and I'm really, really enjoying the Series S. I think it's going to be long term. I've said this before, the number one selling version of the Xbox console.
It could be,
and it is sexy.
So, no, I think you're right. I think it's going to be just a resolution thing for the most part, right? Because you still have access to the exact same SSD. I mean, it's smaller, right? But the exact same SSD speed-wise, right? You still have the velocity architecture, which is what everybody's talking about, right? I think, and like they said, when they talked about it coming out, like the only difference, and I think even Mark pointed it out, is the 4 times greater.
It's really
It's really
it's
4 times more powerful than the Series S.
How do they clock it? The words forget.
Teraflops.
Teraflops.
Yeah, it's 4 teraflops versus 12 teraflops, and it's literally 4. I mean, that's 4 times, right? Or or 12.71. It's just there's a multiplier there that's taking it from 1440 to 4K. And that's you look at the numbers, and it's exactly that. It's that hardware power is meant for 4K, and this hardware power is meant for 1440p. Obviously, over time, that hardware, we're going to have better hardware. And when that happens and you start to, your box may start to, have problems with games, you're going to have a new box come out that will be the same price, and then you can play it. It'll be the S. Well, the S from before.
Yeah.
It'll be the 11%
No, I see what you're
better,
saying.
The 11% S.
Yeah.
Man, why do they name things so similar?
Yeah.
The 11% better S. That's essentially what this is. It's in 3 years you're going to get another box, or in 4 years you're going to get a leapfrog box you'll be like, okay, I don't need this one, or I can put this one in the family ring now, and then So you're not going to run into that problem, and when you do, there will be far better options for you when the time comes.
Herman DeFrog, great question. Jimmy Figueroa writes in and says, "Hey fellas, which games for you all, if any, have made the cut to upgrade from the 1X to the Series X?" He says, "I've got Gears 5, Halo Master Chief Collection, Doom, and Nier Automata getting the Series X treatment." And he says, "I'm going to join NBA 2K21, Valhalla, Planet Coaster, and Gears Tactics. I wanted to move more, but I've got limited space to think about. Thank you, gentlemen. What games made the cut to our internal hard drive?" So for those of you that don't know, maybe you've just jumped into the Xbox platform, the Xbox ecosystem here, to get the full benefits of the next generation, that is the Series X and Series S, you've got to be on the internal hard drive for speed purposes, right? Now, you can have the proprietary expansion card that goes into the slot. However, a lot of people don't. That's $200 right now, and it's a lot of money. But you can connect your external hard drive, and you can play the games at Xbox One X velocity or ability from your external hard drive to experience the speed, the quick resume features, the updates. You've got to move it from your external to your internal, and you can do that. We actually have a video that dropped if you're wondering how to do that on our channel, youtube.com/XoneBros. But so we only have a terabyte. Mm-hmm. We have to make decisions on games. What games have made the cut over to your internal hard drive so far?
I have Apex on there. That's only like 40 gigs, which is nice. Planet Coaster's not very big. Valhalla is actually not very big either, which was surprising.
Yeah.
I think it's only like 50 gigs.
Yeah.
So which is really nice. Oh, and chat did let me know that Valhalla is using the Velocity architecture, which is very exciting. Yeah. So I want to get the new Call of Duty because I really want to play that campaign. But that's 100 and something gigs.
Yeah, it's so big.
And I do want to play Warzone because
I put it on.
When I play
Warzone, I put it on.
Wait, did you get the new Black Ops game?
No.
Oh, just
Warzone.
Yeah.
I put Warzone.
Yeah,
on
Warzone 100.
And Apex. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'll probably because where am I at right now? I think I have a good handful of games and I'm about 400 gigs in.
Yeah, I'm about the same.
So, but I still haven't added Master Chief Collection yet. There's another.
I have Master
gigs.
Chief. I have Halo 5 as well. Those are both really big games.
Yeah. Red Dead. I was thinking about Red Dead, but
I have
think,
Red Dead.
I think
you want to know why I have
really...
Red Dead? Not for graphics or anything, just for that faster loading screens.
Yeah.
It's the only reason Red Dead's there.
Actually, I put on Grand Theft Auto 5
just
because I wanted to see.
That's funny.
That's funny. So I don't know. I think I want to get the new Call of Duty game for the campaign.
Yeah.
So there's 130 gigs. Whew.
130, yeah.
But what'll be nice is that when I play Warzone, it won't sound like my Xbox is taking off.
I also put on Stardew Valley.
So. Hey, there you go.
There we go.
Oh,
I'm gonna have that at good low times.
I have Astroneer on it because that's only like. Oh, and I have No Man's Sky on there as well.
Yeah.
There you go. No Man's Sky.
So that's what made the cut, right?
I actually put on Ark Survival Evolved. You know what's determining a lot of these right now? As you're browsing Game Pass, if it's got the optimized for the Xbox, I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm going to play Ark Survival Evolved, but I'd like to experience it. Let's move. Right? So I've downloaded a lot of those.
See, and I also put Forza 4 on there, mostly just because I wanted to see what it looked like. I'm probably going to uninstall that one. No offense, Forza. But, see, I haven't put Destiny on there yet, too, because Destiny's another big one.
Destiny's got it, yeah, that's true.
Why are games so big?
That's the question.
What's hard is I don't mind getting an external hard drive, but just because of the loading times, I don't want to go back to a regular external hard drive. You know what I mean? Like I want to get that Seagate one, but it's $200.
Yeah. Well, you just gotta be efficient, and you just gotta go
transfer back and forth.
What game am I gonna be playing? Then you just transfer it over, and then
the transfer time does not take long at all.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Yes, yeah, especially if you have like a 3.1 USB hard drive.
Chief does confirm that the new Call of Duty is 130.79 gigabytes.
And you know what's funny of that is 100 of that is probably Warzone.
Yep. Yep.
30 is the actual
127 is Warzone.
No,
3 is Black Ops.
I don't think you need a very expensive hard drive to just manage
with
the speeds that we have. I'm going to be playing this game. Transfer it over, transfer one back that you're done with.
Now I have a question because when I transferred, I downloaded AC Valhalla, transferred over, but then it had to download the upgrade.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
which is funny enough is the whole game.
It's the whole game. So if I transfer that back over to my external,
I think it should be fine. I think it transfers it all.
Do I then, when I transfer it back, is it going to do the same?
I
wouldn't imagine.
There are some games like Sea of Thieves that you actually can get, and I think you mentioned this right before we started talking about it, but you can get the graphic fidelity and the frames and stuff from an external hard drive. You just don't get the benefits of the internal hard drive.
Yeah.
And I think they have I noticed this icon. It's only on Sea of Thieves though. It has an arrow icon pointing both ways, like this. You know?
Yeah.
And I wonder if that means...
Say I'm with stupid?
Yeah. No, I wonder if that means, can be played with enhancements from external hard drive. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Interesting.
But
great question, Jimmy Figueroa. Thank you very much for writing in. Our last question about the Series X, about the next generation of consoles, comes from J.D. Fisher. J.D. Fisher writes in and says, hey, guys, now that you have the new console in hand, what is the biggest wow factor for you? For me, it's a toss-up between Quick Resume, the new D-pad, and the physical height of the console, the Series X. It's shorter than I expected. P.S. Check out Tetris Effect on Game Pass. It's amazing. J.D. Fisher, we're going to get into Tetris Effect because I'm blown away by it. We all talked about Quick Resume and the D-pad. Anything else that really blows us away as a big wow fact? I like the aesthetics of it. I'm not going to lie. I feel like the minimalistic practicality of it is sexy. The Series S is very beautiful as a hardware piece of hardware. But anything else that we missed on stuff that super wows?
I can't even tell my Xbox is on.
Oh,
It is
silent,
so quiet.
yeah.
And I put my hand above it, and it is pumping out some hot air.
And if you put your hand underneath, Jordan was like, feel the suction.
Yeah, you can feel.
Feel
It's like
the
a wind
suction.
tunnel. I even put my ear up against it just to hear
If
it.
you
and it goes-
vape underneath it too,
Yeah.
that's a thing.
Sucks it
Apparently,
right out,
the
yeah.
internet that happens.
Yeah, you vape, and then you can pretend that it's
Pretend
crappy.
it's overheating like crazy.
No, it is so quiet. I cannot believe how silent they made this box.
Yeah, that is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. Jordan, anything we missed on the WoW fact?
No, I think I mean, of course, the loading times, right? I do like Quick Resume more than I thought I would. I still don't think I'm going to use it like a ton,
Yeah.
but it was cool using it because I used it to test it out, right?
What is interesting is Quick Resume is tied to your box. It's not tied to the cloud.
Well, that would make sense because
Yeah, because and I didn't think of that. So I'm playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla on both the Series X and the Series S, and so I've been jumping back and forth. And every time I do, I'm leaving off where I left off on each box before. But when I make progress on the next box, it doesn't transfer until you load up the game, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh, okay, but that's just an interesting.
yeah.
You don't think about it until you do
no.
it, right?
So, well, because it's running off the hard drive,
Yeah.
right? So, but
Yeah.
no, yeah, I like the Quick Resume feature. I don't know how much I'll use it because, like I said, I usually close out all of my games anyway because then it feels like the room is clean. You know what I mean?
No.
Don't have laundry laying around
see,
and
I
stuff like that.
understand.
You know what I mean?
I understand what
I
you're
just get that feeling, you know? But I did test it out on, Planet, just a whole bunch of games. And it is actually, I will admit, it was a cool. I did make fun of Microsoft. I said, because when they came out, they're like, people have been asking for this for years. I'm thinking, really, who's been asking for that, right? You know, it was one of those, I made fun of them, and I would like to apologize. It actually is a cool feature. I don't know how often I'll use it, but it was cool watching things load up that fast.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
I've seen
Spicy.
people be putting ping pong balls above the fan and have it float there.
Really?
That is
It's because
cool.
it's indented, right?
Yeah,
You can
so you can
That
just
is
like drop
cool.
a ping pong ball and it'll just be like
Dude, get a designed one that's like the Death Star.
a globe.
A globe.
Like, yeah. The Death Star would be
cool.
awesome.
That's way cool. I like that a lot. Well, that does it. The Series X and Series S first impressions very high here coming in so far. As big games start to come out, it is a true next generation experience for all of us. And it's the speed times alone. The speed is lightning fast. So there you go. We're now going to talk about some games. We're going to review some games that we've been playing. Let's call this the news segment. We'll call this the news segment. We
Yeah.
don't actually have a news segment this.
I'll press the button.
So press the button, yeah.
Well, all the news
Because
that came
the
out
news
this week
is all
there's
things Series X. So let's talk
ton
about
of
the
games
games
that
we've
came
been
out.
playing for that. Maybe we can bring them up. Let's go over the first one, which is a little bit of an odd one, but one that Jordan's been excited to play, and that is Planet Coaster.
It's a fantastic game.
Jordan, Planet Coaster, how is it for you?
It's really good.
Give me a review, your first impressions of Planet. Now, this is optimized for the Series X and Series S, correct?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying.
That's what
Okay.
they're saying. So.
Okay, yes. So go for it. Is it what you expected?
No, it's really fun. I like it a lot. The controls do feel odd.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I felt like when you take a game, let's talk about Sid Meier's Civilization, right?
Okay, sure.
I felt that when they moved Civilization over, the controls felt good,
Sure.
right? I'm only a couple hours in, right? I still feel like I'm having to get used to the controls.
Sure.
On Planet Coaster. I mean, they did a good job of implementing it, and I like what they did, and it is, in a way, kind of easy to navigate things.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm going slow.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
okay.
Whereas you take a game like Civilization, another like primarily mouse and keyboard game.
Sure.
I didn't feel like I was going slow in Civilization. I felt like I picked it up really quick.
Yeah.
Right. So my only criticism is the controls still feel odd a little bit. Like it does take some time to get used to, but the game itself is fantastic. I mean, managing your park. It's basically SimCity with a theme park.
With a theme park, yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's really fun. I like it a lot. I haven't played as much as I'd like to. Like I said, I've only played about 2 or so hours because of,
Valhalla?
of another game that is out there. But Planet Coaster, I think it's $49.99 for like the Super Edition and $39 for the regular edition. So it's not a bad price. But if you just want to get, you have a tough day at work,
Yeah, I get it.
You come home.
You want to sit
It's
down.
cold outside. You have a
and
nice
design
cup of
your-
hot chocolate
your
or
own
something.
theme park.
Yeah, you just sit down, relax, design your own theme park. And you know,
One of the-
it actually is very stress relieving.
One of the funniest things to me is when you zoom in on the characters, like people standing in line. Their facial expressions are hilarious. I also like when they open up. Like this, what we're seeing here. This is one of the first rides that you install in your park. Right?
Yeah, this
that
is
you
a tutorial
unlock.
level that
Yeah.
you can do. Yeah.
And when people will wait in line, and then when they get in, everyone like runs to the roller coaster, right? Like you know,
Yeah.
like you do in real life. You're
Yeah.
like, run, hurry, we gotta get that one. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. And
Well, the best part about Planet Coaster is actually their blueprint system, their customization.
Yeah.
So, like, if you were to pause it at any point here,
You want me to?
yeah.
Okay.
Pause it right there. So see that castle and stuff he made?
Yeah.
So you can save that whole thing as one blueprint and then download it and use it for later, or put it up in the store and other players can download it. But that also contains, let's just say, 70 little pieces in it.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? You can actually, and this is where I think someone like Mark would have fun, because I have fun with this. There are so many little bits and bobs. You can design and build whatever you want for whatever you need,
Yeah.
right? Like, say you want to build, I don't know, a cowboy saloon. There's like little cups you can find and put in certain places. There's lights, different types of lights. I mean, there's tons of stuff, from candles to light bulbs, from wine glasses to soda cups, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can get within the game and build with to create your, like,
So
I
it's
bet you
just
that
super
that
detailed.
fountain right there. Like that is probably saved as a blueprint, right? But I guarantee that's like, you know,
Someone
20
went in
little pieces that everybody put
individually
together,
did
yeah,
it,
and put
yeah.
in, yeah. It's super. Their blueprint and customization and creation
Like
tools.
they're running to their carts. Look
Yeah.
at they're running.
their customization tools, I think, is where Planet Coaster thrives.
So this is on
in addition to the park simulation.
Yeah, this
management,
is
right?
on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, go check it out.
Yeah,
Planet
you want to know
Coaster.
something funny?
Yeah, go give it to
Yeah,
me.
I didn't know that. So
Oh.
I wasted $40.
You bought it?
Yeah, because I was like, oh yeah, buy. And then if you have Game Pass, it shouldn't even give you an option to buy it, because they put them they put them next to each other, and they put Game Pass off to the side, so your eyes are looking at the price tag.
Oh man.
So that was like really frustrating. I literally wasted $40. Like, literally wasted it.
That is hilarious.
It was really frustrating.
good for you, man.
Well, you're
Yeah.
supporting
You're
them.
supporting the developer.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
but I
That's
don't
a
want
waste.
to.
No, it was flustering. But yes, it is on Game Pass, so don't make the mistake I made. When you're excited for a game, take it slow. Especially with these new how fast the menu is now. You got to take it slow
It
and
was
read
so
the
fast,
fine print.
He
It was
didn't have
so-
time
to see that it was
notice
Game
that it
Pass,
was on Game
yeah.
Pass. Our next game that we're gonna talk about here is the big boy. Let's go through AC Valhalla. And just go through our first impressions, reviews of this game. I would like to start, since I've been away. I've been very excited for AC Valhalla.
Mm-hmm.
I've been away from the game, from the Assassin's Creed series, since Black Flag. Black Flag was the last one that I played. I haven't jumped in since. This appealed to me because it was Vikings, because I got turned off by the Assassin's Creed formula. Go to an Eagle Tower, collect some stuff. Go, you know what I mean? Like that formula that was around with Black Flag, which is a really good formula. I just got tired of it. And so Origins came out, Odyssey came out. They've really changed that up. And now here with the culmination with some more changes is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm absolutely enjoying it. I love the story that is involved. It's very story driven. The music is really fun, is really good. It's it's just epic music. I like the fighting. I like the way that they're merging traditional Assassin's Creed stuff without being traditional Assassin's Creed, right? Like with the Assassin's Creed vision that you can do with the sneaking and stuff. But then with the eagle, and I'm sure it was
The Raven.
the Raven, and I'm sure it was this way with the Odyssey and Origins. I just haven't been in it since then. But like, it's not traditional towers that you go up. It's like these stone things that you go up to see the next part of the map. The way that you utilize your Raven is really good. I really like all of that. I do have one gripe about this game. And it's a gripe with modern games that I was telling you guys before the show.
Yeah.
And that is, holy hell, your tutorial zones are so freaking long. Like, I don't understand why modern games feel the need to do this. And it's only because of this reason. I enjoyed the tutorial zone. But the fact that as a gamer, an experienced seasoned gamer, I know that it's a tutorial zone. And I know that the game unlocks when I get to England. I'm like, chomping at the bit to get. Whereas if they never told me that, if I never
That's
knew
the
that,
thing. Just ignore the title screen that pops up in 3 hours of gameplay.
yeah, you get 3 hours through Gameway and you're like setting off sail for England now, and then it goes, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah, just ignore that because
what the freak?
it's still the same thing, right?
I think the way they word it, it's no longer tutorial, it's a prologue.
Yeah, the prologue.
Prologue, yeah.
Which, you know what?
That's a tutorial.
They could have done it. Like, I didn't need. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time there, but you start to get to a point. Like, this is what they could do to improve this, because you get to a point where you're like, oh, I just need to get through this so I could get to England, right?
Yeah.
Like, you reach that point, and what they could do instead is they could have done cutscene to introduce you to your characters, right? Show cutscene all the way up until like you learn all the abilities that you need to learn. Have me do a tutorial with that, like a little training 10-minute session. Then cutscene all the way to England. Then just have me, if I ever want to go back, I can now go back to Norse. Maybe you send me on a mission back there to Norway, and everything's open, but I can go back and forth now, right? Like, I just feel like I got to that screen that popped up, and I was pissed.
Yeah, well, I know, that's funny.
Well,
if that screen didn't appear, you probably would have just been fine.
Well, I was just like trying to get through to England because I wanted to get to my settlement, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the whole game is being advertised as England is the new land, right? And
Yeah.
then you spend the first 3 to 4 hours, depending on how well you push through things.
In what, Norway?
In Norway,
Norway.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Mark was funny. You found out that you can just fast travel back to Norway, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. And then you skipped everything and just went to England.
Yeah, that's
The story is really good, and the fight. There's like one main boss fight that you have that is also really
Yeah.
good, and they pull it together. I just don't understand why in the modern age, games feel the need to make hour-long prologue, quote
It's
unquote,
art,
what are
man.
tutorial zones.
It's
But-
art.
But other than that, that's just a stylistic gripe.
Yeah.
I enjoyed my time in Norway. I think the game is doing a fabulous job with the story. I'm sucked into the story, which I wasn't with like Black Flag the last time I played this game. I really, really, really like it. And the part that I really like, which I did not like with Black Flag, it became a headache, was actually the Abstergo stuff. Today I spent hours.
Yeah, see, they're doing good.
Yeah, I spent hours looking through a friggin' laptop with files, which, for the record, they had WAV files listed as MP3. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I
it
did,
was like tagged like MP3.WAV file. It was like, I mean, I'm sure these developers know the difference.
I don't know. This day and age, I don't think so.
You literally can't do that. Like on the laptop, it's listed. It has a little icon that says MP3.
Honestly,
and then it says Abstergo.WAV.
I think. Well, I think.
what?
I'm gonna sound like an old man right here.
Yeah.
I think the younger generation just has things work. You know,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I
So they
think
don't
that-
know.
so
They don't know the
right?
internals.
Things just work with apps and stuff that they didn't have to go through the struggle that we had to install Sound Blaster or whatever. We know where those.
Well, like
you know,
all you had to do is MP3 and title it, but they titled it .wave.
yeah.
Like, it's like, what are you guys doing?
It says
Obviously, that didn't go through quality
MP3.
control.
Yeah, who was taking care of that?
Yeah.
But even
That's my gripe with
ready for
this
this? Normally,
Unrealistic.
Normally, I'll like casually browse that stuff, but they did such a good job, and the situation that they put you in, you're like, interesting. And I looked through, I read everything.
Yeah, I
that
spent a
was
lot
in
of
there.
time in that
Yeah.
cabin, right?
Yeah.
And reading about it.
Yeah, they did a
They're doing a
really
good
good
job.
job, which last time I played it again, this is forever ago, Black Flag, I was like, holy hell, Abstergo, get me back to being a pirate,
Yeah.
like right now.
Well, since Desmond Miles, the Abstergo stuff or the modern storyline has not been as interesting until I would say now. Now, fun fact about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The Assassin's Creed community is rather happy because the head writer for this one is one of the better ones in the Assassin's Creed franchise.
Well, there you go.
So given he did write Black Flag as well, but he also wrote some other ones that were very good as well. So, and
I'm
you can
very
tell
impressed.
the story is
It's
It's
quality.
fascinating.
It
It's
is-
interesting.
it is
It
quality.
keeps you interested.
Yeah. Now that's me. That's from my perspective, being away from a while.
Well, and it was the title screen after 4 hours of gameplay that pissed you off.
Well, no, it was. No, I did reach a point where I'm just pushing through instead of taking my time and exploring the area, which you're probably technically supposed to do, right?
No, you're not, because around you, besides your like home base, is level. If you look on the
it's
map,
huge.
230, and you're a level 7.
So you can go back.
So yeah, it's pretty.
I just
For
feel.
being an experienced, well, let me say, an experienced gamer would have noticed that.
Well, I did notice because I mean they give you like overpowered. They show like the icons for who's overpowered or not.
Yeah.
But it was still like, okay, that took that long to get through that prologue. Like that could have been a cutscene.
My gripes with the game, obviously the bugs are funny. I enjoy good bugs, but like speaking of the story, I think Ubisoft was in an interesting place because they have to, because you go and you're like settling England, kind of, right?
Yeah.
And you literally go raping and pillaging is part of the game.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. But you're introduced to characters that are like, oh, the last Norwegians, the last Vikings that were here, they always paid us a fair price and they always treated us nice. So we want to be. And I'm like, no, they didn't. No, we're not nice people. We literally go and rape and pillage. Because
immediately after that, like, oh, okay, well, you could be our friends. We're going to go get some steel from our neighbors here, whether they want to give it to us or not. Right? Like, that's the next sentence.
It was like a break.
Right. He did say that.
It was a break of immersion when they're trying to have the story be Vikings are friends and family, or they're friendly to outsiders.
Yeah.
And that's not the case.
Well, and me and Mark were talking last night. That time period, whether you were in Viking or a Saxon or whatever, if you weren't within the group, you weren't.
It was us versus them.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Even the Saxons were the same way. Like, I think in those times there was no regard for human life.
Well,
it was just, you're us or you're them.
I'm on a pillage mission, right? And we're just running in. The horns running and killing everybody. And I run up to this lady because I'm in the heat of battle, and I kill her. And then a warning comes up: if you kill civilians, you will be desynchronized. And I'm like, what am I doing here? The whole point of me killing everybody is to kill everybody.
No, that part is kind of funny because, it was everybody.
How
died.
about the skill tree? How are you guys liking the
I
skill
love
trees?
Amazing.
It's
It's one of the
best they've
best
done, yeah.
skill trees in any game. It reminds me of Path of Exile.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's really cool.
For those that haven't gotten into the skill tree yet, because you have to go through like the tutorial.
Well,
and
the
everything.
tutorial, by the end of the tutorial, you're like 3 skill trees in, or starting 3, so it does a pretty good job.
It is so awesome. You can reset it at any time.
Yeah.
And repopulate it. But it's if anyone's ever played Path of Exile, that is one of the most extensive, brilliant skill trees you'll ever see. And this is like that. What it is, it's like a constellation of stars. And as you start building things out, it'll unlock different areas, and it's massive. It is huge. You have so much opportunity to build the character exactly how you want to build it.
I'm really focusing on unlocking like the bonuses with armor, like so bear armor, wolf armor. I make sure I get that so that I can get those armors types. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right now, I'm going out and unlocking as far spreading as I can
to see what all the options are.
what all the options are, and then I'll respec again because it allows you to respec at any time whenever you want.
Oh yeah, which is a great feature as well.
Awesome. The skill tree I think is one of the best I've ever seen in any game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
agreed.
Anything? What's your favorite part? You guys have been now. How does this compare to like Origins, Odyssey, to those games that you guys really liked? Is it an improvement? Is it the same?
As of where I'm at right now, given the modern day stuff has a lot of influence on that, like the Abstergo storyline. As of where I'm at right now, I think it's better than Odyssey and Origins.
Oh, okay.
And those were good in their own right, but that's just where I'm at right now.
So for me, I think it's better than Origins, but I still think Odyssey is my favorite.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think it's getting close though, but I think Odyssey, just because I fell in love with Alexios. I think Alexios is one of the funniest characters I've ever played as.
Well, I was actually telling, so they have their version of side quests or like world events, right?
Yeah.
So there's a side quest in Odyssey where you basically have to sleep with this old lady for like all night long and you get an achievement. We've talked about it before, right? I think that guy who designed that side quest designed all the side quests in this game because the side quests are hilarious.
Okay, there was a side quest
They're
in chat
the funniest things I've ever seen.
During pre-show that was talking about helping,
They're hilarious.
along with that, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I really want to tell you guys about this one side quest I came across. It was the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
Okay, go ahead.
So it doesn't spoil any main. It doesn't spoil any main story. It's literally off on its own.
Should I put the spoiler music up? Or?
No, it doesn't spoil anything.
No.
It's a side quest. It has nothing to do with the main story, like all the side quests. But what happened is I came up to these guys, and there's these 2 houses and a silo right in the middle of their property. And I walked up to them, and they're arguing because they sell mint or something, like some type of leaf.
Okay,
and
sure.
one guy is the seller and one guy is the grower, right?
Okay.
You know, and they're arguing like I should make more because I get us the contacts, and the other guy's like I should make more because I make it, blah blah blah, right? And then they both go to their homes, and it pops up. So I go talk to all their family, and they all hate each other, right? Or they're the two,
like the clans or whatever.
no. There's just two families, like the two dads, right? They hate each other, right? Because they want more money. And I talk to like the wives and the kids. They're like, yeah, I just, before all this happened, before we made that silo and this and that, our families were friends and blah blah blah. And you're like, oh yeah. And then I talk to the dads, and I convince them like, okay, well just hash it out. Right? And they're like, yeah, we're going to do that. So they go out and they start fist fighting each other.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there like, okay, well, this will solve it, right? Who's going to win, right? And all the family comes out and they're like, oh, why are we fighting? And their dialogues popped up again. So I went and talked to them again. They're like, man, it's so much better before we had the silo. Like, we were all friends and this and that. And I'm like, okay, the game's trying to tell me I have to do something to the silo, right? So I pull out my torch because it's all straw. I'm like, oh, okay. If I destroy the silo, they'll have nothing to fight over. So I pull out my torch and I throw it at the silo, and it starts burning, and everybody they stop fighting. They go, oh no, it's on fire. And then all of a sudden, apparently, there was oil cans.
So it blows up?
It blows up, and both their houses light on fire. and I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh. And the dialogue, they actually say like, oh, well, at least we can start over and we have nothing to fight about. And you're sitting there like, oh.
You're quietly walking away.
And they thank you, and you're like, okay. Yeah, it was, but all those side quests are like in that vein. All the ones that I've done, they are so funny.
Well, do you know what's interesting is the side quests in this game, I think, have multiple outcomes. Because there's this... Okay, this is another side quest, really quick. And I'm going to tell you about one outcome I accidentally chose. She's sitting there crying, and she's looking at a leaf on a tree. She's crying, my dad said he'd be back before the leaves fell, and this is the last one. And so I was just like, okay. And I go and I shoot the leaf to see what would happen, and it just falls, and she just starts bawling, and then the quest ended. It's like her dad's dead.
Whereas you could have went and found him or something.
Well, I don't know. She does mention where he went to, so maybe we could have. Yeah.
I was just like, I didn't know. I was just like, yeah, let's see what happens, and the quest is over.
Is hilarious.
Yeah, no, all the side quests. There's like 3 or 4 others that they're so funny.
So keep in mind, this is a 100-hour plus game, right? And so we're just at the beginning of it, but overall, spicy. Highly recommend. Wait and play Cyberpunk. What are your thoughts?
Well, I wouldn't be able to wait for Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
You got a good month to play this.
Yeah.
Play this.
Yeah.
I love these games, and I love the modern version of Assassin's Creed, where I don't know, like Odyssey,
like
for
Origins
example.
Forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Origins Forward. Odyssey. It was just one of the funnest. You had fun playing it. It was just a fun game. This one, I think, is more linear in a way. It's still open world, but I think it rails you a little bit more versus Odyssey, which I thought Odyssey was fun because it didn't do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think I put Odyssey better for that reason, and because at this point I think I like Alexio a lot. Although Ivor is still pretty cool.
Ivor he's awesome.
Yeah. But it is a great game if you like the open world style, collect a lot of things, improve your weapons, improve your base, improve all that stuff. If you like those style of games, absolutely get it. It's an excellent game.
Well, and that stuff we haven't even talked about. Your settlement, I've been having a ton of fun with because it's just building up your settlement. The gear system is really good because it's all set pieces.
Yeah. Now, is this the first time there's been a settlement feature, or did Odyssey and Origins have that as well?
No.
Yeah, no, I think this is the first time. I think didn't one of the Revelations or so in Brotherhood you built up your Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Right, but this is the first time they've done it like this, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
I
don't know.
I think an improvement in this game is how much more rare weapons are.
Oh, yeah.
And equipment. It's way more rare. In the other game, you could just get equipment willy-nilly, and your inventory was just flooded with
stacked
legendary items all over the place. This, you earn your
so
weapons.
it actually matters.
Yeah, you earn your weapons in this, and armor and everything like that.
Yeah, so Chet's right. In Revelations, you could build up your town because you were building everything up. So I like the way they do it here, though, because same with, I guess, Revelations. Each building has a purpose, right? And gives you something to build up, so it encourages you to go out and get the materials. But and again, I like how they do the gearing up. So there's a lot of set bonuses that you get, right? So it's almost worth it to wait till you get a full set and then put it on. But I like your upgrades. So what you can do is you upgrade the stats by finding just your raw material, and you upgrade that wherever you want. But you can also upgrade the rarity of your gear by going to the blacksmith. And what that does is, you got your common, green, purple, epic, legendary, all that stuff, right? I think it's called mythic, and this one is the highest. But when you upgrade the rarity, it gives you more stuff like rune slots and stuff like that, which you can then use those rune slots, which are kind of like gem slots for anybody that's ever played just like RPG games, to then further customize and kind of make your axe or your shield or your armor do what you want it to do, right? And I have tons of runes, by the way, that do all sorts of things. They give me plus block damage, evasion, poison, negation, all this sorts of stuff. I really like their upgrade system a lot, actually. How it has that 2-part upgrade.
Yeah, it's
and
very cool.
and they have champion armor sets too. I know that you accidentally found Thor's armor,
it was great. It was
or
really
a
hard
part
to-
of Thor's armor.
Yeah, I found his boots.
And that's going to be super fun going through and finding like the champion style of
Yep.
equipment,
Yep.
which, by the way, you can totally spec out your skill tree to make those even more overpowered. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
And it's really, this is I'm going to say it's a good time waster, relaxer, fun game.
Yep.
And that's what I want. I want a game where I can escape life, waste time, and enjoy a video game that is just a video game. You know what I mean? And that's what this does. So I recommend it. I'm enjoying it so far. It's not a perfect game by any means, but that's not
Yeah, it does
necessarily
have
a
its
bad
bugs.
thing.
Yeah. No, I've experienced a few bugs as well. I like it, and I think it's worth the worth the $60. Also, I will say this: it does have bugs and stuff. But on the Xbox Series X, it does feel smooth, and I think it's because of that high the higher frame rate at 60, right?
Yeah, it took me getting used to it being that smooth.
Yeah. Boss fights are really fun because it's just on the Series X, you do definitely feel a difference between the older console to the new, especially in this game, right? So,
And you can say that because you played it on both.
I've played it on both.
Yeah.
So,
Is it a big jump from the Xbox One? Like, our textures looking like, because there was a full upgraded download here. What is the biggest besides smoothness, right? Frame rate issues. How about textures? Like,
I think it's higher.
graphically,
Yeah, I
is
think
it
it's higher
superior?
fidelity. You're at 4K. I mean, I think you're at 4K. There's been some stories around the internet where you're not quite at 4K, but you're almost there. You're 60 frames. Sometimes it dips down to 40 type of thing, right?
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you the nicest feature with the jump is not having to have your bird load for 5 minutes.
On the Xbox One X, the further I got away from my person, the bird would go to a black screen for a little bit and then come back.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It does when you go pretty far. It does it, but it's just like a
Split second.
It's almost like a dissolve,
Almost like
Yeah.
it didn't happen.
and then a nice dip to black edit move. So
Interesting.
speaking of the bird right there, and so I think that's part of the load times improving a game. So
Yeah. There you go, guys. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. If you've not had a chance to pick it up, we all recommend it. I've been having a blast with it so far. I was looking forward to this game, and it has not disappointed yet. The last game that I want to review and go over that I had a chance to play this week is Tetris. Tetris Effect Connected. Can we actually pull that up? Because let me tell you, this was a surprise. I downloaded this. I was like, oh, I wanted to try this. I saw it on the series, optimized for Series X and S, and I started playing it in my living room. Now, when it first pops up, it says, we recommend you play this with surround sound on or headphones. And you're like, what? With Tetris?
You know when a game tells you how to play it, you got to
So I said,
buckle up.
okay. I went and got some headphones, popped those bad boys in, and I didn't leave the game the game blew my mind. I just did the campaign mode. It is the coolest campaign mode that I've in a Tetris game. Like, it's one of those games that you can come and sit down and veg out and just completely enjoy yourself. It's amazing. So what it is it's classic Tetris. You're going through but it's black screen on like neon lighted up Tetris things.
Kind of like Beat Saber style.
Exactly, kind of like that. And that's it right there. And you can play a mode, and it's like play. It's like a free mode, right? Free roam mode. And as you play, it's like play to your mood, right? But as you're playing and moving right here, it seamlessly goes between level and level. Like you don't even realize you're changing levels and going on a new speed. And as you're dropping things, it goes with the beat. It unlocks the music. The music gets better. It's an experience like I've never like you've never felt it before. Yeah, right. This. We're watching the trailer here for the game. It really is. On top of that, multiplayer. This is going to be a couch cast, guys. We're going to couch cast this.
Okay.
Local competitive multiplayer, online multiplayer. They have online multiplayer ranked mode. They have online multiplayer friend mode. You can co-op in multiplayer. You can play classic score-based. You can play connected mode, which is really cool, where like what you do affects what I do. It's kind of like it's what I liked about Puyo Tetris. Puyo Tetris. It brings that vibe over here. If you like Tetris 99, I think this is far superior than Tetris 99.
Wow.
It is amazing. I absolutely love this game. It's like this game that will fly under the radar, and it's on Game Pass, though. It's awesome. In fact, I played it for an hour before the show here.
Boy, it was late.
Late? That's why I was late. Yeah, late to the show. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you were late.
Yeah, I was late.
Blame
That's why.
Tetris.
Blame Tetris. I had to go through the song.
I've never. I mean, I've played Tetris before, but I haven't played Tetris 99 yet. Right?
Yeah.
Any of that. So I'm excited to try this out. One, because it's on Game Pass, and two, I want to try this out because I learned this week that the game director of this Tetris is actually one of the top 10 Tetris players in the world.
That's cool.
So, I mean, I feel like this game's got a little, it's got some backing, right?
Yeah, it's an experience.
Clout.
It's
got some clout.
I know, Spicy, your wife loves Tetris. This will blow her away. Like, this...
Is it optimized for Series X?
Yes, it's optimized for Series X and Series S. You need to play with it. It's an experience. It's really cool. I really like it. I like that they have ranked mode. I like the online. It just has everything. Like, I'm blown away by this.
I'll set it up for her. She loves Tetris.
It is on Game Pass as well, guys, so go check it out. It's a great family game to play, too. If you want, play with your kids, your wife, stuff like that, your significant other, your husband. Right there, Tetris Effect is great. I highly recommend it. That brings us to the last segment of our show.
Oh, we are? We're
right here, yeah, we're going to the last segment where we take your questions. Now, we've already taken your questions, but we front-loaded those, all the questions that were about the Series X and Series S. We've got a couple questions here. First one is from Blake Jenkins. He writes in, he says, "Hey, bros!" He says, "I never pre-ordered the Series X, so I guess I'll have to stay down here with the peasants. I do, however, have plans to get one before the Cyberpunk launch, but I couldn't justify buying one while I got gifts to buy still for Christmas. However, I want to be fully prepared to experience all the awesomeness that you have. With that in mind, we are in the middle of Black Friday month. What do you suggest for monitors and sound systems in order to experience the very best that the Series S and X have to offer? I prefer to do headsets, but I just bought an LG Theater sound system for my entertainment center.
Ooh,
all
wow.
I need now is a monitor. Do you know of any great deals?" So I do, actually.
Yeah.
Right now, the LG CX is the one that with the HDMI 2.1. It's normally close to $2,000. It's on sale everywhere, multiple locations, for between $1,200 and $1,300. I actually think $1,200 is where I've seen it.
Yeah, this is the one that everybody's buying for their Series X because
Yes.
it is fully HDMI 2.1, can handle 4K 120.
Can handle 4K 120. You can experience it at top-notch gameplay.
That being said, you're still doing it at $1,200.
And I believe it's a 55-inch screen.
Yeah.
At $1,200. It's OLED. It's beautiful. So I would recommend. I have looked into other ones. There, you can look up lists. There's lists of them. There's about 5 of them out right now, ranging. At like that. It feels like the 50 to 55 inch is where you're getting your best deal.
Yeah.
But I'm a fan of the LG CX right now, just because that's the one that I've really looked into, and looked at myself.
No, I really want this one, and we actually know someone in our lives that
Yes.
got this one,
Yes.
and I'm really excited for him. I just my wife won't let me get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Screw her. Get
Yeah,
it anyways.
I just bring it home. What's the worst that can happen?
Well, she'll be mad at you for a few days.
Yeah. No. Actually, that's the way to do it because she'll say you bought a $2,000 monitor, and
Like,
I'll go,
no.
no, it was on sale for $1,200.
It was on
Isn't that how
sale.
you do it? Isn't that how
Yeah.
you taught
I
me to
learned that
do it?
from my
Yeah,
brother.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Oh, no.
normally 3,000.
No. What you say is, I bought a monitor for $3,000. She will crap her pants, and then you go, just kidding, it was $1,200. And then she's like, oh, thank goodness.
You should have bought that still. I know.
Trust me, it works.
Next time I won't.
It works.
No, I have. It has got very high reviews, especially for the new consoles, right? So it's it's expensive. You know what I mean?
Anything to add, take away that you would recommend buying to experience this?
I think you did good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you're gonna get one, you have to go with one of those. If
Yeah.
not, I would just wait until that price point comes down, right?
Yeah. Creed and Eve says he got the X90H. It does 4K 120, is 65 inches, and it's at $1,000 right now. So there
very
you go.
nice.
Yeah, I know there's lots of deals, and again, there's like 4 or 5 out there that you can look into, right around the $1,000 mark.
Yeah.
For the full next generation experience, right there. There's no monitors. There's no monitors right now, so you're looking TVs.
The problem is there's a ton of monitors that can do 4K 120 at fairly decent prices, but generally they're all through the display cable, not through the HDMI.
Yeah, so they could do it for a PC, but not for. And if you're wondering, there is no adapter to go HDMI display that translates the power. So
Well, it's because it's it's bandwidth.
Yeah.
You can't make something happen that just can't physically happen.
Square, circle, square.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Great question. Thank you very much, Blake Jenkins, for writing in. Next up, Z Capitan writes in and says PS5 has offered a camera as part of its bundles to facilitate streaming through their console. Stadia has its YouTube integration. What do you see as the potential with the share feature in Series X, and with the huge list of titles and tons of cross-play and co-op titles, why don't we see more natural integration for streaming? That's a great question. Jordan, you were about to say something?
Well, I was going to say, I think we saw their attempt
with Mixer.
and
that was built into they put that into the OS.
Yeah, it did make it a lot easier to stream from your box. I mean, a lot easier, right? So I mean, I don't know what they do now. I think you just, I don't know. I don't know.
Spicy, any thoughts on this?
Well,
the question is, why don't we see more natural integration for streaming with this next generation console?
Well, because if you get a capture card, you have free software like OBS that is far superior than anything that these consoles will ever be able to produce.
Yeah.
Right? If you have a PC and a capture card, it's just better.
Yeah.
So that's what's available to streamers, just because, if you're serious about streaming, most people have a computer. So
most computers at this point, even laptops, can run off your console a decent stream.
It's an interesting market to try to crack. Yeah, it's
so Sony offered their camera with it, but the question is how many people are going to choose to stream that way? And I bet you the market is just so small. Xbox made a decision and said,
Yeah, and I think that's a smart decision because, I mean, what happened with the last generation, I guess we would say, and Mixer is doing that. It makes you're not going to be seen because it's. I mean, already the market is extremely saturated. If you're streaming to make $1 or to do it other than just showing your friends some gameplay,
sure,
which is what the share button does anyways, right?
Yeah.
You're probably not going to get very far with a camera and the software built into the console.
Correct.
So I don't know. It's tough. I think, honestly, if you're going to do it, you do it with a capture card. They're relatively inexpensive. Look up any Elgato card. There's a lot more expensive cards out there, but an Elgato card will get the job done. And go with that, and you'll have way more power at your disposal than anything built into the console.
Customization is the key there. I do think, though, at this point, and I don't know, I haven't looked at the apps, but if they're not there yet, if you remember, streaming wasn't available on the Xbox One right away. The Twitch app became available, and then you could stream to Twitch. So on the One X, I'm sure that's Twitch. It might be a Twitch thing, right? Or YouTube. You've never been able to do it to YouTube there's no app for the console. There hasn't been. So it's up to these softwares or these places to decide to allow to do that as well. Twitch, I would imagine, it will do it because they have. Why not? But yeah, I think the reason, in my opinion, that we don't see more natural integration for streaming is because, like Spicy said, most people are doing it are trying to do it seriously, and it's like I don't know why you would stream directly to your box from your box other than just for fun.
Yeah.
Like and I don't know how big that market is.
And that is,
and it probably skews younger.
Yeah, I mean, my nephew streams. Well, he used to stream on Mixer because it was built into his Xbox, and and I was, I believe, his only subscriber.
Yeah,
you know, and at that point, the share button, if something cool happens, you can now just press it on a controller, bink, and you have 30 seconds to. Or 15 seconds up to 5 minutes. That's what it used to be. I actually haven't tested it on the new box. Is it the same?
I don't know.
It's probably the same. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. It would probably. You could just crank that up if you wanted to, and that pretty much covers anything that.
Well, I think that's where they're banking, right? I think they're banking in most users sharing clips. You've got tons of apps, social media apps to share to, like an Instagram or a Twitter that you can just immediately upload, Facebook, stuff like that. But then you've also got gaming apps, and the competition in that space is huge. Vying for your time, where you can upload straight into their system, utilizing the share button. So I think they're seeing clips as a new form of social media rather than the integrated streaming direction.
Yeah, and look at the new Xbox app. How quick is it to find your clips now?
Oh, yeah, super
it's
quick.
Right there.
Yeah.
So I think that's the direction Xbox is taking rather than
the integrated streaming.
And maybe they will later, but I don't know. I really think if you're serious, you're not gonna take.
It's an interesting question, and I'm sure it's it's obviously a business decision, and I wonder what went into that. But interesting question. Thank you very much, Z Captain. I say Z Capitan. It's probably just Captain, but I like Z Capitan.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for writing in. Super Shocker, our last question of the day, comes in and says, "How's it going, bros? Yesterday, I was feeling nostalgic, so I powered up my old Xbox One S and finished Doom Eternal, which just so happened to be the last game I purchased. In this case, I was pleased with the purchase because it was such a well-made game. However, in the past, or before Game Pass, it was always a bit of a gamble when buying a new game. With that said, what games did you guys pay good money for just to be very disappointed in? My example is that steamy pile of digital garbage, the 2005 Delta Force Black Hawk Down. I've got one right at the top of my head that we actually all played together that freaking pissed all of us off because it's been broken. It actually tanked the entire series, and that is SimCity. The latest SimCity, which was super cool, and everyone was stoked, and like it worked. We had multiple cities that had to feed each other. Cool in concept. Always broken. Never worked. We actually put 50, 60 hours into a legit broken game.
But don't worry. They came out with their Nissan Leaf.
They were never able to fix the game. So much so that they closed down support and servers for the game.
Then City Skylines came out.
That was
just simplified it. Said, well, we don't need cities to interact. It was like this. They overcomplicated it. Cool idea, way overcomplicated that completely broke the game and put the series out of business.
And it was it was funny because they totally hated industrial. They hated industrial. If you went solar, then you could go places.
Yeah. The problem is they were more focused on pushing out the Nissan Leaf update than they were fixing the other updates.
Game.
Which, I will be honest, Ubisoft touts that line every once in a while, and I feel like they need to be a little bit careful and kind of fix their priorities when putting out patches, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah.
No, it was a cool concept. So the concept for SimCity, the latest version, was basically that you're always connected. It's online, and that your neighbors have cities, that you have multiple cities, and that your cities you could focus. So you could be an industry city. Like you could build an industry city in theory and build an all residential city. And that your residents would commute to your industry or commercial city or out to your online universe. In theory, my citizens. I'm all residential. I'm the burbs. They're traveling to Spicy's commercial
to work.
Silicon Valley to work. Never worked.
Well, and it broke.
Zero worked.
It broke the game because now I didn't have any workers.
Yep.
Yeah, and it broke it, and it never fixed. Or if you would get tourist attractions, you could never get enough people to come to your tourist attractions because you had to get people from other cities around the internet or other cities within your local domain, and they weren't properly coming back and forth. Like their algorithms were all messed up.
And instead of focusing on fixing those algorithms, they came out with the Nissan Leaf pack and the evil industrial pollution expansion.
They made a big deal about these packs.
Do you guys remember that trailer?
It
was like
and about 60 hours into the game, we're all sitting here, and 60 hours and 6 months, right? Or probably more hours than that, and you realize like this game is broke and it's never getting
broken.
fixed.
Yeah.
And they never did, and a year later, they closed it all down.
Yep.
Like it literally killed the game. So that is a regret. That it's not a regret because that game could have been good. Like besides it being broken, it was fun. Until you reach the point, you always reach the point in your city where you're like, my city's broke.
Yep.
And I'm starting over. And you're thinking it's yourself. You're like, okay, I'm starting over. I did something wrong. Only to come to find out, nope.
And even in single player mode, it was broken.
Because
it still needed that communication.
Yeah, it was and then City Skylines dropped and just simplified everything and went back to basics, and it's a beautiful game.
Yeah, it really did.
Did City Skylines, were they like, you know what, we could just make that now?
I'm sure it came from
I'm sure
that,
that's
yeah.
exactly. They're like, so we could. I'll tell you another example where that's happened in history. EA with their golf series, you had Tiger Woods Golf, which just was super successful, and over time they overcomplicated it, overthought it, added too many features.
They added a battleship.
That golf club.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That golf club came in and was out of nowhere. Just refocused. Just basics. All it is golf. That is it.
No battleship.
And it was good, and it was based on skill. And 1 year later, Golf Club 2 comes out. EA gets rid of their golf series. They get the PGA license. 2K buys them. Boom, they're off to the races. It's very interesting. You're a victim of your own success, right? With lack of competition.
Yeah.
Madden better be careful because Madden's been making some moves and decisions where you could see that.
They come out with the Nissan Leaf pack.
Basically. I'll tell you who else needs to be careful is NBA 2K. Charging you upgrade fees, giving you commercials in-game, advertising in-game that is paid for.
Mm-hmm.
And
don't they have loot packs too?
And you've got card packs to pay for everything.
Yep.
2K, they better, because you're not, just because you're the only kid on the block now and you're dominating, you won't always be the only kid on the block.
Well, I feel that same way. It's why I haven't pulled the trigger on the new Black Ops game, because it's a $70 game now for the new systems, in addition to your season passes that you'll be buying, in addition to the store that they have year-round that you can buy, right?
Yeah. Interesting. So a game. So that's my game of regret, and it was all of ours. But anything else really stand out that a game you purchased that
I hardly ever mentioned this on the show, but Brink.
Yeah, that game.
I think that game was the worst game ever made for me. It was,
and it was such a good idea.
Good.
Well, I remember you guys were super hyped. Like, yes,
I think that was a
and
launch night. I went and got it at midnight.
Isn't that Bethesda?
Yeah,
they produced it.
It was so bad, and it had. I have like so much PTSD from that game.
Arcane made it.
That even Dishonored, I have a hard time playing that because the art style reminds me of Brink.
And Dishonored is legit good,
and it's a very good game. But the art style was from Brink, and it's just like, yeah, which is unfortunate because Dishonored's an excellent game, and Dishonored 2, right? So. Brink, I despise that game. I think it's terrible.
Brand A Beast in chat says, Evolve screwed me. There was no one to play with.
Yeah, that happened to kind of us, too. We played it well, yeah.
And Evolve is one of those things where it was a good game. It just...
the concept's awesome, but nobody wanted to play...
No one wants to be the... Everyone wants to be the monster.
Correct.
Yeah.
No one wants to play the 4 hunters.
Yeah.
So, you know?
Yeah. It was splash damage that did bring.
How about you, Jordan?
I don't know. I feel like I had one. I mean, there was SimCity, that one. Oh, there was. This was way back on the 360. It has gotten better since, but I still don't think it's quite there. Is the Defiance? You remember that game?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was the TV show. The game TV show, like the TV show took place in St. Louis. The game took place in San
Yeah, you
Francisco.
were all
You're in the
about
same
that game.
universe, and then like. It was actually really funny to watch it because you jump in and like the first, I would say the first month of a game, it's kind of your honeymoon phase, right? You know, you're like, this is a problem, but it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, you're just,
I'm watching the show every week, and
Yeah.
what happens in the show happens in the game.
Yeah, this and that. And the first things came out were like, and I didn't expect much from the show to the game. It's just cool that it's in the same universe, right?
Yeah.
And what's funny is the game. Sorry, my like sound just went out on my thing. I think anyway, the game. Slowly went downhill, and you're just kind of like. And I spent like $150 on this game because I got the super special edition.
Yeah, you got that big spider thing, right?
Yeah, the Hellbug, right?
Yeah.
And so the game slowly went downhill, and you're just kind of like, okay, well, back to Warcraft, because it was an MMO, it was a shooter, right? They had all these good ideas. I think. Like the whole dynamic event thing, I think was like the base idea for Guild Wars 2, who came in and I feel just did it a lot better, right? You know what I mean? So anyway, the game just slowly went downhill. Like
Never recovered.
yeah, and that's not even like the whole like the show and the game stuff. I mean, this like something would happen in the show, and then there'd be like one quest in the game that didn't really connect. But that was whatever. I just like that they're in the same universe.
Well,
you
fun
know?
fact, we went and met with the developers.
Yeah, and we actually
for
played
the reboot. of
Yeah,
it.
and we played, and the reboot was better, but I think at that point it's almost, it was almost, I don't want to say too late, but just like because there's so much like at that point. Guild Wars was out now. Guild Wars 2, who I feel did that dynamic event stuff better. World of Warcraft was coming in with good expansion. You know what I mean? I just feel like it was almost too late, right? Type of thing. But anyway, so what's funny is the game slowly just kind of waned off, and you're like, whatever. At least we still have the show.
Yeah. And then the show.
And then the show, you're like, season 1, you're like, okay, it was all right. It was all right. Like, it's setting the foundation. It's okay. Season 2, you're like, And then season 3 was like, I see why it's getting canceled. So it was just like, it was a double whammy. You know what I mean? Because you're like, the game's out. I can still watch the show every week. Oh, the show sucks now.
Dang it.
Yeah, well, what do we do?
That is funny.
Yeah, so that
is
one,
really funny.
that one hurt.
You know what? I was browsing. So EA Play. Well, great question. Thank you very much, Super Shocker, for writing in. Hopefully, you know what? I think actually it's interesting how gaming has evolved. It's like harder now than ever to be screwed over by games.
Yeah.
Right.
Just for the record, I actually do think Defiance is still live and up. So if you do want to check it out, I think it's free to play now too. It's probably, I mean, when we talked to the developers of E3, the changes they were making were really good. But like I said, I mean, it's
just the competition.
It's hard to get into that genre.
EA Play has dropped. It's now included with Game Pass, which is super
Big
cool.
deal.
Yeah, big deal.
And you get that free trial of Disney Plus.
Disney Plus, yeah. Yeah. Jordan actually called me for that.
I said, hey, that's pretty good. Well, because I was telling David, I was like, could you imagine if like Game Pass now includes a free Netflix subscription?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, wow,
Game Pass
like
is
really
by far
big.
the best deal in gaming. Like there is no question. However, having said that, EA Play is here. EA Access, I mean, rather. And I was browsing that library. Which
I think you're right. I think it's EA Play.
Yeah, whatever. I was browsing.
Whatever, shut up.
I was browsing it, and a game I almost downloaded, Dragon Age Origins. But then, you want to know what kept me from downloading it? I thought I literally had this thought like, I have a Series X. This game is old. It's not going to take advantage of Series X. I can't download it.
You're a purist.
Can you imagine
that?
You are a snob.
Yeah, I like... But I want to play that. That game is one of my
Imagine
favorite.
the load times.
What? Yeah. Just raw power busting through those load times. Maybe I will download it. You've changed my mind.
Yeah, what's his name's not gonna. What's his name? Alfred?
Alistair?
Alistair, yeah. And Morgan, there.
Yeah.
You're like, you two just bickering back there.
Yeah. I loved that game. And it's not that old. I don't think.
Can I say I feel like
Probably 10 years.
I feel like Dragon Age Origins was when because it's BioWare was at their prime.
Well, that was
Yeah.
the Mass Effect time period.
I feel like everything after that, with the exception, I don't know when Mass Effect 2 and 3 came out. I know
Well,
they're
they-
all within that area. after that, I feel like that's when they started to kind of.
So tell me,
Someone retired,
Well,
and,
tell me
and they
this,
never replaced him.
because
you know?
I didn't play the original Mass Effects, right? The only one I jumped into a little bit of 3, and then I jumped into a little bit of Andromeda, but it never hooked me. But everybody tells me that it's like favorite memories, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Mass Effect. That's BioWare. It's around the Mass Effect. Did what happened to Mass Effect? Is it what happened to Dragon Age? So, for instance, Dragon Age Origins, I put it in masterpiece status, right? Everything that you did, the story, story amazing. The way that you utilize you bring together a crew, your RPG elements there, and then the way that you battle, you can freeze it. It's turn-based without being turn-based, and you have to use your characters together in each and every single battle, made it interesting. Then you go to Dragon Age 2, and it's a huge drop-off in my mind. Not a bad game. A lot of people like that game, but a completely different direction that I feel broke what made Dragon Age Dragon Age.
Agreed, because what they tried to do with Dragon Age 2 is they tried to jump off the success of Mass Effect and make it more of an action combat
they
style
went
game,
in this
which, by
action-
the way, in Mass Effect worked beautifully because of the set. Like, it worked because that was its style of game.
Yeah.
Dragon Age, I feel like, was a different style of game, and that's what made each game good.
Then they went to Inquisition and tried to have a hybrid scenario with it, but they never got back to Origins. Origins, is that what happened with Mass Effect? That same kind of feeling where they just kind of get away from what made it
For Andromeda.
To Andromeda. What
Yeah.
I think what happened from Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 to Andromeda is, and this, I hope I don't offend the people that made that game, so sorry, but I think Andromeda was such a large scope of what they wanted to accomplish, and the talent level, they didn't have enough talent to
reach what
the scope of that game was.
Okay.
It was still a good game. I actually really enjoyed it. You know, the makeup on some of those female characters probably wasn't the best, but I still thought it was a decent game. But it definitely was not a Mass Effect 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Or even 1 for that matter.
Or even
and
one.
that's how I
It was
feel
an original
about,
trilogy.
I think the scope of that game was so large, and the talent pool that they had just wasn't enough to reach what that was.
And that's how I feel about Dragon Age Origins versus 2. 2 good games, like solid games still, but not what Dragon Age Origins was, right? And 3, same, solid, but still not. You didn't capture the magic that was the first Dragon
Well,
Age.
I think it's because they changed the gameplay style. And once you change it, you're in a difficult spot because you'll get a new crowd of people that come in and say, "Oh, I like the Dragon Age 2 style better," right? And then that's why we get that hybrid model in Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah.
But
it also helps that Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 had Commander Shepard and Andromeda didn't.
Yeah.
You know, I think that really does make a difference. Having
But would Commander Shepard be Commander Shepard if the game wasn't what it was in those first ones? Or was his storyline a part of what made it what it
because
was?
I mean, back in 1, 2, and 3, BioWare was story.
Yeah.
And you got involved.
Well, that same Origins.
You got involved with Shepard, right?
Yeah.
And you got involved with all the characters in the game emotionally. And Andromeda didn't have that. You weren't connected to the protagonist at all. So,
have we had a game like those? I mean, like KOTOR, Mass Effect, Dragon Age Origins, where the BioWare type style game where story decision based. We've gotten like excellent storytelling games. I'd say Red Dead Redemption, right? Up there with stories. Grand Theft Auto's up there with story. But none of them reach that. Have we had a game that has reached that detailed decision making?
I would say Witcher.
Oh, that's the greatest game ever made.
Yeah, I would say. I mean,
And
Geralt,
now it's the fastest game. It's the
Geralt-
fastest, greatest game ever made.
yeah, now because Geralt, you have to make decisions, and the world he's in is terrible.
Yeah.
It is terrible, and you have to.
You're deciding
I mean,
the lesser of two evils.
Go watch the Monsters trailer from Witcher 3. Like, you know, it's just his job is to kill monsters, and sometimes people are monsters.
The trailer that is there for Witcher 3, they've updated their trailers. The trailer that is there right now on the Xbox dashboard, like in the store, is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They nail their trailers. Whoever that company is that does their trailers.
CD Projekt Red?
Yeah, well,
Or
they probably like hire out for their trailers, but
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of pieces and moving parts and stuff that make a great game. I would say the Mass Effect series has a lot of moving great parts. What 1, 2, 3 had was
well,
the protagonist.
remastered coming of those. Like it's a complete
Awesome.
rework.
awesome.
Well, what's cool about Mass Effect, and correct me if I'm wrong, but BioWare was the first one to implement, and I think it was well implemented with Mass Effect, where choices from 1 carried over to 2,
Yeah,
choices from 2 carried over to 3, right?
Yeah.
You know, which they tried to do with Dragon Age, but again, it wasn't really that.
Well,
great.
they removed a lot of the features in what you came to expect from a Dragon Age game, from Origins to, you know.
Well, it was so character driven, and your characters actually mattered in a way that when you move to action, your characters don't I could go from chopping someone with my sword to shooting someone with my staff to shooting someone with my bow and arrow. That doesn't matter like it does in number 1, where you've got strategic moves being made by your characters.
And like you said this earlier, they took stuff out. Like, for example, in number 1, I expect each character to be very specific, to do things at very
specific role.
specific times.
Even with a macro.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
set up macros to be like, do this when this happens,
On
do
a
this when this
console.
happens.
Right? That was
On
on
a
a console.
console,
That was
yeah.
on the 360,
Even
right?
though you had less on the PC, I preferred playing it on the PC.
Yeah, you
'cause
had
could-
way more,
You
yeah.
could have like 60 macros there, whereas the console only had like 5.
Yeah.
But even then, you can put like the healers specifically, because they were the easiest ones to do. Like, if this guy is below 20%, he gets a priority
This
heal.
specific
gets a
spell.
In number 2, yes, they did have that, but it was at a far watered down version.
It was
a much more watered down.
It was like
a
a
much more watered
It was like
down
a
version.
cosmetic version.
Yeah, it really was. It was like you couldn't do nearly as much, which I think was a shame.
Well, because it takes away those characters mattering, and I would argue that that's what made Origins
Well, that's what
so
made
good.
BioWare so good at the time.
But
all,
even
all the characters matter.
even the world in number 2, we were just in that city, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you went underground, you know, all that stuff, right? You know, but yeah, we're really just in that city. Whereas in Origins, I mean, yeah, you still had to load into zones and stuff, which was just a product of the time, right? But the world felt bigger. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It felt better to go off the beaten path and explore these different areas and stuff like that, and get
almost
you
like
know.
an MMO.
Even characters that weren't the protagonist, like your crew, and in Mass Effect 2, the Elusive Man, there was the characters were so good. So good. Miranda and her her interaction with all that. Even in Origins, you learn to love or hate the characters that are with you.
Yeah.
And it mattered, right? I remember you were like, "Oh, that girl's mine," and I felt like, okay, I can't woo her because that's David's. You know, she's.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, who was it? The red-haired girl.
The redhead, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
don't
you
remember
and,
her name.
You and your redheads. But no, that's what Andromeda was missing. Just that pull or push to character. You
To
know,
caring about them.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what those were missing. And in Witcher, you get that even through side quests
Yeah.
with characters that you'll never see again.
The thing with Witcher, I would love to see their whiteboard, like in the office, because they're like that. Imagine the spider web of stuff that was like, because this quest interacted with this quest, and this guy
Well,
can't come back if this
I
does
doubt
this.
it's on a whiteboard, because could you imagine the janitor just being like, I think this needs
Yeah,
cleaned.
yeah, if
it's like
someone
it's
were to
like
see
at
that, they would be in straitjackets. You know, it'd be
Well,
all over the wall.
they had to do that thing. You remember when you were in elementary school where the teacher put save on the whiteboard, so
Oh,
the
yeah,
janitor
in a
wouldn't wipe it
box.
off. Yeah,
a
it was like,
box, save.
yeah, so they wouldn't wipe it off.
Yeah.
the janitor comes out. It's like a Goodwill Hunting. He's solving the quest lines. Wait, who are you? Sorry, and he runs out the door.
The dev team goes home at night and comes back, and they're like,
Wow. The janitor wasn't
And
working there
that's-
anymore in Andromeda.
and they have no idea. They have no idea how it got done. It just got done.
But
Go for it.
I was just gonna say, like, games like The Witcher. See, that's why I'm so excited for Cyberpunk, because if they take that same type of stuff they did in The Witcher to Cyberpunk, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, Cyberpunk's gonna be very,
No, and
very
see,
interesting.
that is why I am more excited for Cyberpunk than I am for Valhalla. Even though I'm excited for Valhalla.
Sure,
Remember,
sure.
we talked about
Yeah,
this
yeah.
several times. But it's just how good their storytelling is, and what an exciting time to have another CD Projekt Red.
Watch it just suck. It does.
We'll see, and that's
I
like,
sure as
Watch it be Dragon Age 2.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think it will suck, right? But I am trying to be careful, because I do feel like, because I really do think The Witcher 3 is the greatest game ever made. Everything, right?
It's a high
everything
bar.
just works.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah, it's how can you do that again?
Well,
You know what I
Rockstar
mean?
has managed to do it. Great developers managed to do it. Like, even whether you prefer whatever Grand Theft Auto is your favorite, they're all top tier, right?
Yeah, they're all
sure.
good.
They all meet a bar, a threshold.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what they have in common with Rockstar?
Huh.
Like a 10-year cycle on their game development.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
They take their time to make good games,
yeah.
which up until recently hasn't been the case for Assassin's Creed, right? So
Yeah, and Rockstar's going away from that, which is really interesting to me.
Because they completely changed their development
They're
cycle.
changing
But
how
I
they-
mean, you're still at like a 3 to 4 year
well,
development
but
cycle.
what
right?
what they said is that in the way that worlds are working now, it's more like add-ons to addition. So, for instance, you'll get Grand Theft Auto, and instead of having every area fleshed out, you'll have this core base game, and then a year later, here's now a new Grand Theft Auto that adds on to the, you know what I mean? That to me is what I interpreted from
Yeah, maybe. As long
Anyway.
as they don't charge you for a battle pass and the content and whatever else
like
you want in
Red
there.
Dead Online, you douche nozzles.
yeah, that was interesting for them. And they were probably just testing things out, and honestly they didn't care. They probably cared, but they didn't care as much as Grand Theft Online versus
Yeah,
Red Dead.
yeah.
That was the testing ground.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto is their moneymaker.
Is their baby. Is
Hey,
their
I will say
crown
one
jewel.
thing about Rockstar, and I actually do think CD Projekt Red should do a little bit more of this, but Rockstar does not care what you think.
Oh yeah,
And
I
they do
appreciate
not,
that.
and they
Well, I
do,
think that's
they,
what-
and they do not care what the press thinks, and they fire you if you spoil anything.
Well, I
I think that works in their benefit.
what
Makes a better game.
It does, because you can't, if you're focused on your work, your masterpiece,
Mm-hmm.
you really can't care about the noise, right? The
Yeah.
noise is irrelevant. This is yours.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of CD Projekt Red stuff coming out, especially with like the crunch time and all this stuff.
Sure.
Like, look, as far as I can read, the employees love to work there. You're a good developer. You're a good company. I think, like you said, you just need to focus on the work. You know what I mean? Not the noise. And I think Rockstar actually does a really good job of that.
Yeah.
And I love that they don't care. I mean,
because
how many times has Grand Theft Auto been in the news and they never respond?
I know, that's the thing. They just don't hire a press team. That's what every company should do.
Yeah, because it's those guys that are like, okay, we need to manage this. We need to manage this. Here's what I recommend that we do. And you're like,
What their press? Do you know what their press guy does? He turns the TV off.
quality will shine through always.
yeah.
Well, that does us for this week, everybody. The Series X and Series S are here. Very excited to be jumping in and playing it. If you haven't had a chance to get it yet and you're trying to get it, pay attention. Come join us over in Discord. A lot of people there that have been able to get it. It's a great place to be, letting each other know. We really got a cooperative community, so come join us over there. Again, don't forget to like us and subscribe to us over on YouTube. Leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to the podcast. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.